try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about how the rally that we called fake yesterday has failed. I told you I didn't buy it. Bitcoin has fallen over and has dropped about $1,000 over the last 24 hours. Very interesting news because much has happened in the last 24 hours. We have had a CPI report. We've also had a presidential debate. Could you call it that? I don't know. And today happens to be a sacred day in American history, which is 9/11. Before we get started, I want to say a prayer for any of the families that may be watching this or are watching this or are out there in America that were affected by those terrible attacks 23 years ago today. When I was in my crib, I was just a little baby, and my parents remember it. Many people that are older than me remember exactly where they were when those towers fell. So Lord, I just pray that if anybody under the sound of my voice was affected in any way, if they lost anybody in the attacks of 9/11, that you would bless them, you would keep them, that you would comfort them today. And Father, I just pray that you would hold up any affected family members with the hands of your angels. And I just pray that you would bless them and hold them and keep them today and forevermore. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Thank you to all of our first responders who are at all times fighting to keep our country safe and free. So thank you to everybody who helps to maintain that freedom and that republic that we hold so dear here in the United States of America. Welcome to the stream. If you're new here, my name is Jared McAfee, Jeb McAfee, as you know me. I've been doing YouTube on cryptocurrency for over 7 years now, and it is my dream to help you guys learn more about the cryptocurrency markets. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a rally that was doomed to fail from the beginning, and we're going to talk about where it is heading next. American politics is getting hot. Inflation data is continuing to be, how shall we say this? False. A farce, maybe would be another good word for it. Fake. A lot of F words for it. And we're also going to be talking about where Bitcoin goes next. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get started, where does success come from? Where does success come? I like to spend a couple of minutes kind of talking about life here before we jump into the charts. Don't get me wrong, we're going to do a lot of charting today over the next 30, 45 minutes or so, but where does success come from in life? I think that success comes from two things. Number one, success comes from clearly defining what success equals. 1 + 1 = 2. Why? Because on one side of the equal sign is something, on the other side of the equal sign is something else, and they are the same. What does success equal in your life? Does it equal you being able to run a marathon? Does it equal you building a big business? Does it equal you helping people? You've got to get clear on that. You only have one life. Don't be like 95% of people that waste it on useless hedonism. I spent 10,000 hours playing video games as a kid. I wanted to go into astrophysics. I could have been finding people to study under. I could have been learning. I could have been growing. Instead, I was building my base in Minecraft. There's nothing wrong with video games. There's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself. But when it's your entire purpose in life just to have pleasure, you're going to get further and further in your life. You're going to have more and more regret. It is paramount. It is not something that we can debate. It is not something that we can put off until tomorrow. It is something that right now, we've got to do. We've got to get really clear on what does success equal in our lives. What does it mean? For me, success equals first and foremost serving the Lord Jesus Christ and telling as many people as I can about him and shining his light everywhere I go, that you would see the love that I have for you. And so in that, you would see the love that he has for you, and so that you might come to know him. First and foremost, that is my goal. Secondly, my goal is to love my wife. Thirdly, my goal is to love and lead my children. Fourthly, my goal is to teach you guys and anybody else who will hear me about how to get their finances right. In that order. You guys come fourth. But it's still very high on the list, but you come fourth after those three things. My dream is to help you succeed financially. My vision, success for me, is to help as many of you as I can while I still have breath in my lungs to become financially sovereign, because I believe that it'll actually help you. So that's the first question. What does success mean for you? Second question, are you willing to pay the price to get it? And why? Are you willing to lose sleep? Are you willing to give up on precious Twinkies to lose the weight? Are you willing to live on less than you make, to clear the debt so that you can become free? Are you willing to make investments? Sorry if I'm blowing your eardrums out. People wearing headphones, you might want to do this number, right? There's an echo in here when I take my headphones off. Are you willing to do what it takes? What does success mean? Are you willing to do it, and why? Why are you willing to do it? Because it matters. Why am I willing to do whatever it takes to teach you about, one, unashamedly, I'll always let you know, number one, the love of Christ. Number two, though, what am I willing to do to teach you how to become financially sovereign? So long as I'm loving my wife first and my God before her and my children after her, so long as I'm loving those three, I'm willing to do just about whatever it takes to bring that message to as many of you as I can, because it matters. Why am I willing to pay the price? Because it matters. Why am I willing to sacrifice? Because it matters. Why am I willing to get on here and admit, man, I got some stuff I got to get right. I got to grow. I need to become a better version of myself. Why am I willing to be humble? Why am I willing to do these things and say, I've got to do better? Because it matters. Why or why not are you willing to do that which you have sat down and done the work to define as success? When you answer those two questions, your life will either, one, get much more clear and you will start having much more purpose in your life, or two, you will answer the question, why? You will answer, no, I'm not willing to do what it takes, to at which point you should be convicted about that. Because if the dream, what you define as success, matters and you're not willing to do what it takes, and what you want to do truly matters and it's truly good, then you're either lazy or prideful and you'll pay the price. And the price that you will pay, instead of paying the price of discipline to get what you defined as success, instead you will pay the price of regret and shame. And I don't want that for you. So with that said, let's get this analysis. Bitcoin's currently sitting at $55,745. We talked about a rally that was occurring yesterday. We discussed how it was very likely not going to lead into anything major to the upside, and that's exactly what happened. Even over the last hour, Bitcoin is down 2.38%. Over the last 24 hours, we are down 1.63%. Over the last week, we've mostly been sideways, but we are slightly bearish. On the Bitcoin chart, yesterday, we were charting right about here. And we said this rally that is going on, in fact, this was the thumbnail yesterday. You can go back and look at it on the channel. I said fake. This rally is not going to rally, as far as it's not going to go any further. No, not really any further. It's not going to amount to anything. Fast forward, we rallied for a couple more hours, hit a lower high, because our original high right here was $58,100, and our second high was $58,000 right here. And then ever since about 3 p.m. yesterday, we have been correcting. Why? Let me be the first to tell you, I don't get every call right. If you are looking for an analyst that gets every single call right, here's what you can do. You can go right ahead and keep on looking, because it doesn't exist. Somebody who has been doing this as long as I've been doing, for over 7 years, you're not going to get every call right. Oh yeah, this guy correctly called the 2008 stock market. Yeah, okay, right. A lot of people did. Wow. What has he done since then? If you've actually been doing analysis and financial market projection for years, you will have made thousands of calls, and I guarantee you a lot of them are wrong. The question does not come down to whether you're perfect. The question comes down to how often are you right and how often are you wrong? And when we are right or when we are wrong, we've got to sit back and analyze why we were right or why we were wrong. We happen to be right on this one, so let's analyze why we were, see what we can learn, and then let's also talk about where Bitcoin's going to go next. By the way, if you're new here, I want you to drop a 1 in chat, because I want to give you in particular a massive shout out. Welcome to the stream. So glad that you're here. It is my dream to help you guys become financially sovereign, which means to be in control and free with your money. Also, make sure to hit that like button if you have not already. Why were we right on this? If we were wrong, we'd be asking the question, why were we wrong on this? This is not a a proud thing. This is a self-reflection thing so that we can actually grow. This is watching the tape back after the game. Why were we right on this? What we said yesterday on stream was that Bitcoin has entered into a much more sharp decline than it had been over the first 3 months of this corrective movement as we were trading sideways. On top of that, we also said that the election is coming up, and with this being such a divisive election and quite frankly freaky election for the business community because of the unrealized capital gains taxes proposal that Kamala Harris has put forward and many other business and tax and finance policies that she's put forward, it is a freaky time for markets, and people are kind of sitting on their cash because they're not really sure where this is going to go. On top of that, we said this rally is probably going to fail because the stock market is not performing very well, and as you can see, the stock market has had a correction after the opening bell today. We've had a major drop. We have hit 550 as a local top. We've double topped, and so the stock market, at least at this point in time, is kind of moving sideways here. There may be a big rally, but in the short term, it's not looking that bullish. So we were correct on this because we analyzed the data and because the market actually followed the data. Sometimes the market doesn't follow the data. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes something happens that we don't see coming. I mean, for example, the presidential debate was last night. For all we know, Kamala Harris could have done a complete 180 and said, "Oh yeah, we're going to buy Bitcoin at the National Reserve, and then we're going to see Bitcoin just absolutely moonshot because both candidates now believe that." Obviously, that's not going to happen. That's not her stance. But things can change that we cannot predict, which is why no analyst is going to get it right every single time. That being said, we follow the data. And that's the first point I want to make here as we go through our technical analysis. Again, not to pat myself on the back, but to bring recognition to good principles. Not to make me better. I'm not trying to be prideful here. I'm just saying we've got to follow good principles. And the good principle we followed is we followed the data. We followed the facts. We followed the logic. We did not follow our emotions. We did not follow, "Oh my gosh, I'd be so scared if Bitcoin went through a crash." No, that's not analysis. At least not market analysis. It might be psychoanalysis, but it's not market analysis. We've got to follow the data. And the data right now says that just about every other time in the history of the market that we have seen something like a very bearish RSI, where we're dropping below the 50 level, every time we've seen RSI do this, as we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, Bitcoin ends up going into a crash. Fact. Bitcoin, that's a fact. The second fact, the market generally goes through the second part and the main part of the bull market after the election. That is a fact. Here's a fact, not an opinion. People are scared of Kamala Harris's policies. Here's another fact. People are also scared of Trump's policies. Let's be honest here. I have to talk about politics because it impacts the markets, but I in no way will ever say anything that will help the hate train that is going on in our nation. That being said, I do have to do the analysis. It's called sentiment analysis, market analysis. We have to do the sentiment analysis on what people are thinking. And right now, people are freaked out. Elections are fear-mongered. They are the biggest form of fear-mongering in the entire world. The amount of fear that floats around. "Oh my gosh, Trump's going to get elected and this is going to happen. Oh my goodness, Kamala Harris is going to get elected and this is going to happen." And you know what? Sometimes there's truth to those headlines. A lot of times there's not. How much truth there is on either side, you get into being political and taking a side. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of fear. And there is not going to be a great degree of bullishness in a market when the economy that drives that market is full of fear. It's called FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt is the best way to describe the current political zeitgeist. And so we have ourselves a very difficult time going through a rally in that season, especially considering we already went through a massive rally and Bitcoin never had a large corrective movement to compensate for it. So when we follow the facts and we see that a tiny little rally right here is occurring, we get to say bogus. That's going to crash. Not because Jeb's some wizard, not because he necessarily knows something that you don't, but because Jeb followed the facts. Does that make Jeb great? No, it doesn't. It makes the scientific method as it applies to analysis great, which is why I encourage every single one of you to learn technical analysis, because it will genuinely help you to understand where the market is going so that you have information about how to trade in said market to make money. Don't forget my two goals here. I'm very open about them. Number one, I want you to see the love of Jesus Christ. Number two, I want you to become financially sovereign. That's all I want out of this channel. That's all I want. That's all I care about. That's literally all I care about If this channel does those two things, then this channel has succeeded, whether we have 100 subscribers or 100 million. If I've done those two things, then this channel has succeeded. If you're on board with that, hit that subscribe button. If you're like, I like one of those, maybe not the other one, still hit the subscribe button because I got a lot of value I can share with you on even just one of them. I love you so much, and I want you to succeed. Now, let's talk about where Bitcoin's going to go next. Now that we understand what led us to success last time, because we watched the tape, we said, yeah, we ran that run correctly. After we ran that run correctly, we said, okay, we did that right. What do we do now? If we had done it wrong, we'd say, oh, we got that one wrong. What did we do wrong? How do we do better next time? Now that we know what helped us last time, let's watch the data. Let's do some analysis on this market with the lessons that we've learned. First and foremost, not much has changed in the last 24 hours. There are a couple of things that have, and we'll talk about those, but not much. As of today, 9/11, September 11th, 2024, we have a consumer price index update. CPI has dropped down to 2.5% as energy continues to fall into the negatives, and all items less food and energy sits at 3.2%. This is a slight decline, which is good, but don't forget this data is nonsense. Did Jeb just say that? Of course I did. The Bureau of Labor Statistics and the United States federal government as a whole looks like fools when the CPI is too high. They want it to come down because the incumbent administration wants to stay the administration. Of course, the data is coming down. Does that mean it's actually coming down? Who knows? Here's the deal. You can't really trust this data fully because it's coming from the government, which has a vested interest in covering up how much inflation is going on. Don't believe me? Check your receipt from Walmart 2 years ago that you got stuffed in a drawer somewhere and then go do that shopping again. It's probably going to cost you twice as much. 20% cumulative inflation over the last 2.5, 3 years is a load of nonsense, and you know it. That being said, that's the one side of things. The other side of things is that this data is traded by. And if it went down, it might have actually gone down. It just might have gone down from 9% to 8%, right? It might not have actually gone down from 2.8% or whatever it was last month down to 2.5. It may have gone down on a real sense, but it may not have gone down from that number that it was last month to the number that it was this month. And so that is good news, and the market will most likely respond to that. Has it? Well, here's the concern. It hasn't. This is where I can show you that the market doesn't really trust the CPI data. Market should have rallied with CPI going down. It didn't. You know why it should have rallied? Because with CPI going down, it makes it even more likely that the Fed is going to lower interest rates. The FedWatch tool over on CME Group tells us that in the next 7 days, or about 7 days from now, next Wednesday in the afternoon, we are going to see a meeting. And there's a decent chance that we will see the Fed keep rates. There's a most likely the chance is that the Fed's going to keep rates where it is right now, 5.25. Right now, it's sitting at about 5.15. Right, but there's a 17% chance, they say, that there is actually going to be a rate drop. Next meeting, November 7th, right before the election, like basically the same day as the election, they are predicting that there is a guarantee of a rate drop. And so with rates even more likely to drop as a result of the CPI coming down, CPI comes down, the Fed adjusts rates to get inflation under control. As the inflation comes down, Fed tries to keep the interest rate about 2% above inflation to kind of just, like Goomba stomp the interest rate back down into 2% territory. This should have been good news. Why did the United States stock market not rally on this news? I'll tell you why. Because it's not the driving narrative. Nobody's talking about interest rates right now. Nobody's talking about Fed rate cuts right now. The United States stock market is trying to figure out whether the companies that make up the S&P 500, the companies that make up the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the companies that make up the Russell 3000, the Russell, right? The Russell right here. They are trying to figure out, Russell 2000, sorry. They're trying to figure out whether we're going to have such insane tax changes that they are going to absolutely eliminate any bullishness that would come out of lower rates. Rates going down are good for the economy. Why? because debt got cheaper, which means slavery got less burdensome. Make no mistake, slavery is debt, but make no mistake, otherwise, most of the country operates on it. And so when interest rates go down, the yoke of bondage of the interest rate on the debt that is borrowed to maintain these businesses, especially a lot of these zombie companies that have been propped up by debt and by government stimulus ever since the COVID-19 pandemic, they are easier to run. Their profit margins are higher because they have less interest payments. And so that should be good news. That should rally the economy. The reason it hasn't is because, in my opinion, the United States stock market is being suppressed by some of the policies that are being discussed on the debate stage last night. I don't think you're going to see a major rally in stocks or in cryptocurrency until after the election, until we get some clarity on what kind of tax implications we're going to have next year. You don't believe me? Every single chief financial officer in the S&P 500 right now, every single one of them, I would bet money on it. If they are not having this conversation, they should be fired for incompetence. Every single chief financial officer and every single chief legal officer, every single CEO and COO, every single executive team in the S&P 500 ought to be talking about what two paths they're going to take after this election. Trump gets elected and you see taxes come down in some areas, maybe go up a little bit in some areas, but generally stay the same or get a little bit lighter. Or you see Kamala Harris bring in a 25% unrealized capital gains tax, and then you've got to ask fork in the chain over there. Is she actually going to do it, or is she just blowing smoke? Who knows? But they've got to take that seriously. I remember when I was out at the Area 51 raid. Who remembers the Area 51 raid? Who remembers that back in 2019, before COVID, back when the world made a little more sense? Who remembers that? I was there. I was there, believe it or not. I actually went to that. Yeah, I have video of it. I got on trending on YouTube. I was on CBS this morning. I was there. I have the... I got interviewed. There's an article of me in the LA Times. Look it up. Jeb McAfee, LA Times. I'm not kidding. I'm in the LA Times. David Montero interviewed me out there. So when that happened, there was a Facebook thing where people signed up to go raid Area 51. 3 million people signed up and said they were going to go raid Area 51. I was speaking to a National Guardsman right on the back gate of Area 51. I mean, you walk 10 feet, you are on government property, and they have kill on sight orders. I watched a guy dressed like Naruto drop his phone under the gate, and he reached under there to grab it and came back out. There was an anti-aircraft battery right there. I was there. So I was talking to this guy. He's on the back of a truck, and he told the Naruto runner, the guy dressed up like Naruto, right? Who remembers this? Who remembers this? He went under the gate, grabbed his phone. He said, "Don't you ever do that again." The cop got onto him, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." The cop said, "Listen, I don't care. I don't know what they're going to do to you if you go under there again." He's basically saying, I have no idea. I don't know that. I don't know that jurisdiction. As far as I know, a sniper will blow your head off if you go under that gate again. Here's what they told me. They told me 3 million people signed up to go raid the back gate of Area 51. The town of Rachel, Nevada, which is 1 mile from the back gate, it has a population of 49. 100? 49? No, 49. There's one toilet in the entire town. They said that they had to prepare for 3 million people to come because that's what was said. Is that probably going to happen? No. But what the officer told me, National Guardsman, I think he was. He might have been a state trooper. I think he was a National Guardsman, though. What he told me was we have to prepare like 3 million people are going to show up. Red Cross was out there. Porta potties as far as the eye can see. They had to prepare like 3 million people were going to show up. Were 3 million people ever going to show up? No. But they had to prepare like it was going to happen because it could be a crisis if it did occur. If Kamala Harris gets in office, she might not be able to pass a 25% unrealized capital gains tax. I hope that Congress stops that. I hope there's enough people with any degree of a brain to say that would absolutely destroy the economy and it never happens. But here's the thing. Businesses in the S&P 500, the same way those officers had to prepare for 3 million people out in the middle of the desert and there's no running water, no hospital for 150 miles, they had to prepare for that because that was what was said was going to happen. The chief executive officer, the chief financial officer, the chief operating officer, the chief legal officer in the S&P 500, every single one of them, they have to prepare for that. They have to prepare for the idea of having 25% unrealized capital gains. That is not an environment where you go and try and grow your business. That is an environment where you take as many profits as you can so you have less money to pay taxes on. That's not an environment where you're able to grow your market. And so until the election, because CFOs around the country are preparing for that possibility of 3 million, 3,000, 4,000 people showed up. That was all. I met John Cena's brother out there. There were so many people out there. So they're having to prepare for this. They're having to prepare for that idea. And that is not something that is a pleasant conversation in a boardroom. Guys, I've worked with executive teams like this. We've had to prepare for what's coming up on the horizon. That's what you do. You say, okay, the politicians are saying this. What do we do if this happens? What do we do if that happens? What's our plan? What's our backup plan? What's our third backup plan? Because we need to make sure that we're staying in profitability. We have a responsibility to our shareholders. We have a responsibility to our customers. We have a responsibility to our employees. We got to get ready for this. They're not interested in they're not looking forward to a pleasant business environment where they're able to grow. If the United States stock market is not growing, and here's how Area 51 ties into Bitcoin, if the United States stock market is having a difficult time because of some of the absolute asinine policies that are being presented by Kamala Harris, if they are not growing, and by the way, there's a lot of them that are afraid of Trump too, and that's not helping the market either, but especially that policy. That means the S&P 500 is going to have a very hard time growing. And it also means that even though the CPI came down, maybe it went down from 20 to 18% or 10 to 9% rather than 2.9 to 2.5%, but it probably went down. Even though that's good news, it's not impacting the market because executives around the country are not focused on that news. They're focused on what's going to happen in November. And so when the stock market's having a hard time rallying, and when the Dixie's trading sideways and looking like it's about to move to the upside because we got this ascending triangle pattern here, the Bitcoin market's going to have a hard time. So my prediction, based on the macro that we're seeing right now, and also based on the micro, guys, down here on the short term, we've got a head and shoulders pattern forming. Boom, boom, boom. Not looking good. Head and shoulders pattern right there, shoulder line, head, extrapolation, breakout. Oh, look at that. We go back to $54,000. Are we for sure going to do that? No, we don't know for certain that that's going to happen. Do I think that's probably what's going to happen? Yeah. Am I willing to make that our call? Yes. I do think that more likely than not, Bitcoin is going to fall back down here, and this buy signal is probably going to be invalidated. I'm happy it happened on the 4-hourly chart, but I don't think it's going to maintain. I think we're going to fall right back down here, and we'll be back in bearish territory before you know it. We'll be back testing 54K, and if we do that, and by the way, there is another scenario where this is a 1, 2, 3 rally up to this downtrending level of resistance, and then we reject. Maybe the rejection I'm talking about doesn't happen today, but it happens a few days from now. That's another, that's like a sub B scenario. But at some point, either right now or after a little bit more of a rally up to this downtrend, we're likely going to come back to $54,000, and we're probably going to break back down below that level. That's what I think is going to happen. So what do we do with that? Remember, let's roll it back. I like to wrap everything up into a nice, neat ball so that you have something that you can walk away with. Number one, if you want to succeed in life, you got to get crystal clear about what you want success to look like. Say that again. If you want to succeed in life, you've got to get crystal clear about what you want success to look like. If you don't know what success looks like, then you've already lost. You cannot shoot at a target that does not exist. You must get clear on what success means. What does it mean? If you don't know what it means, then that's your starting point. And you know what? That's some of the most fun of the process, is the dreaming. I'm a visionary. I love to dream. I love to say, I don't care what anybody thinks. Yeah, well, we're going to go build $1 billion company. We're going to go change the world, man. We're going to get a constitutional amendment put into the Constitution. We're going to get a balanced budget amendment passed. We only need 2/3 of the states. Man, we can say, okay, 1/3 of the states don't want common sense in the Constitution, right? They almost sound right. Okay, fine. We'll get 2/3 of the states, because we could probably do it, to vote for a balanced budget amendment, because national debt's out of control, entitlements are out of control, the national spending's out of control, the United States dollar is going to collapse in on itself. Anybody who wants this country to remain strong would vote for that. Let's put it up to a democratic vote. We live in a republic. Right now, the republic is failing us because they're allowing this debt to spiral out of control. In a few years, interest payments on the national debt will be the single largest line item in the entire national budget. The only thing that's really bigger than it right now is Social Security. We spend more money on interest payments than we do on defense spending. And we have the most powerful military on the planet times an order of magnitude. The first most powerful Air Force in the world is the United States Air Force. The second most powerful Air Force is the United States Navy. Nobody comes close. We've got 10 carriers. We have more aircraft carriers than the rest of the world combined. Combined. We have over half of the aircraft carriers on planet Earth. And interest payments, we spend almost $800 billion a year. That's $3 billion almost a day. Nearly $2.5 billion a day on defense. We've got 3, 4, 5 million people in the United States Armed Forces. And we spend more money on interest payments servicing our debt than we do on that. Imagine what you could do with that amount of money. $800 billion a year in interest. Good God almighty. When we were getting out of debt, $1,000 a month, there was a lot of money on interest payments. $800 billion a year. Yeah, we're going to set big vision. Of course we are. We're going to define what success is. You know why? Because somebody once told me if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you might hit the stars. And if you shoot for the stars and you miss, you still might land on the moon again. Life is fleeting. You've only got so much time here. It matters. This is eternal time. There are souls at stake. There are people on this earth that matter, and what you have to offer is too valuable to keep to yourself. Jesus talks about this. You've got a gem. You've got a light. You are a light that is set on a hill. You're a city on a hill. Nobody puts a candle under a bushel where it's hidden. Let your light shine. God gave you gifts. God forbid you keep them to yourself. Figure out what you were called to do. Figure out what your vision is and go pursue it. You know why? Because you were made to do that. You were put on this earth to do something special, and when you do it, guess what you feel? Fulfilled. Guess what you feel? Joy. Guess what you feel? Free. Inspired, motivated. Passionate. You feel like you belong. You absolutely must figure out what success means in your life. And then you've got to figure out what is it going to cost. For you, it may cost learning about technical analysis. Guess what? We have an academy on technical analysis. Am I leading this into a sales pitch? No. I'm just saying it might cost you some money to learn technical analysis. It might cost you what it cost me. I spent 10,000 hours over the last 7 years, probably more at this point, to be honest with you, learning and talking about technical analysis. It cost me something to be the analyst that I am today. I still don't get it right at every time, but I get it right more than I get it wrong, and it gives me the information that I need to make my trades and my investments. It might cost you some time with a coach. It might cost you some early mornings getting up because you work 40, 50 hours a week to provide for your family, but this still matters. And just going to work, working a dead-end job, dying on the inside every time you come in, feeling alive for about 4 hours after you leave just so you can die on the inside again when you go to sleep because you know you got to get up and do it all over again. It might cost you some early mornings, and it might be painful for a while you learn to get control of your money, while you learn to read the markets, while you learn a new skill so you can get into a career field that you love, while you clear the debt. It might cost something, but it will be worth something if you have found out that what you define as success matters. There's that sell signal we were talking about, by the way. Didn't we just say that was going to happen about 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago? There it is. The candlestick's not closed yet, but in 16 minutes, we will see if that sell signal is going to close, just as we said it probably would. Am I right every day? No. It's sitting on the border. We don't know whether it's going to be a sell signal or not. We're kind of fiddling around there. We'll see. If I was wrong, I'd say, am I wrong every day? Nope. Get it right sometimes. Every time I'm right, I say, nope. Get it wrong sometimes. Don't want you to think too much of me. Don't want you to think I don't know what I'm talking about, because I do. Don't want you to think I'm perfect, because I'm not. I want you to know that I'm somewhere in the middle. I get it right more than I get it wrong, which is why you're here. But we've got to figure out what our vision is, and we've got to figure out what it costs. And then we've got to figure out whether we are willing to pay the price. Let me tell you something. Success always costs something. You don't get to make the choice to not let it cost anything. Success, if you don't define it, it'll cost you a life of unfulfillment because you never figured out what your purpose was in life in the first place. And sometimes that's not as simple as just sitting down with a journal for 15 minutes. Sometimes you got to go and you got to get some experiences. You got to go and study under somebody. You got to go and walk up to somebody that you admire and say, I will work for you for free for as long as it takes to earn a salary from you, but I will do whatever it takes to learn what you've learned because I don't care about making $12 an hour with you. I care about learning from somebody who is light years ahead of me in business. Maybe you need to go volunteer under an entrepreneur. Maybe you need to go say, please, just give me the time of day. Teach me what you know. Maybe you need to go and be in somebody's presence. Maybe you need to do something. I don't know what it is, but maybe you need to go and do something. Maybe you need to pay the price to figure out what the vision is, because vision always has a price, always. Vision always has a price. Either you pay the price and you achieve the vision and you are joyful because you achieved the good vision. I'm not talking about bad vision. There are evil visions out there. I'm talking about the good vision, the moral vision, the vision that helps someone. Either you pay the price and you reach the vision and somebody benefits from it and you get joy and satisfaction from that, or you don't, one, define the vision and you feel regret because you never hit the goal that you never even knew was there, or two, you do define the vision, you do that, but then you sit around and you waste your life on things that don't matter because they brought you short-term pleasure, and you don't hit the vision, and you live with regret for the rest of your life because you let years pass by and you didn't do anything about it, and eventually a day comes where it's too late, I will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh, saith wisdom. At the fool, who after wisdom begged the fool in the verses above. I beg you, listen to me. I beg you, please, please, please listen to me. Wisdom begs you your entire life to listen to her. And after an entire life of turning your nose up at her, and you get the comeuppance of not choosing wisdom, wisdom says, I told you so. Now pay the price of your foolishness. You will always pay a price for vision. You either pay the price and you achieve it, or you pay the price of ignoring it and doing nothing about it and living a life of regret. And you know why it works that way? Because it's an image of Christ. You will pay a price for Christ. You will. Every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord, either in this life or in the next. Jesus Christ loves you so much. I had somebody that I work with in business I've been praying with for 4 years. You would know the name. I'm not going to say it. Called me yesterday. Started talking about business for about 2 minutes. And he said, can I ask you a question? He asked me about Jesus. He said, I think it's so inspiring. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the conversation too much, but what I will say is he gave his life to the Lord about a year ago, and he's let me know about it, and we were talking about it. And one of the things I told him is, we will all pay a price for Christ. Either we will bow the knee now, and we'll pay a price in this life, and we will be rewarded in heaven because he loves us and he gives good things to his children. Or we will not bow the knee. We will not do what it takes to be wise, and we will pay a price in hell. Please make the right choice. For those of you that don't believe in God, don't believe he's real, as I did for 18 years, I will tell you the one thing that I needed to hear when I was an agnostic, I could tell you anything you want to know about evolution. I could tell you anything you wanted to know about 13 billion years. I could tell you anything you want to know about that. I'll tell you the one thing that I needed to hear, and when somebody finally told it to me, it made me stop. The accusation of there being an eternity, one destination being eternal glory, and one destination being eternal punishment, is too great of an accusation for you not to research. If I'm wrong, fine. We all die and disappear. I'm not wrong. If I'm right, be careful. Jesus loves you. He came for you. He died for you. When he took my punishment and I realized that, I said to myself, I've got to tell everybody I can about this. This is so amazing. Just like there is a price to following vision, whether you follow it or don't, you will always pay a price for vision. You will either pay the price of regret because you did not follow the vision and you did not make it come true and you did not do everything that you could, or you will pay a price and it will happen and you will have reward. You will pay a price for Christ. You will pay a price in this life, and you will suffer and be persecuted because you follow him, as I have never been, really, but as many people are beaten and killed for his name every day. Or you will pay a price in eternity because you chose not to follow him. Please do. It's not a turn or burn sermon. It's the fact that he loves you. He came and died for you and saved you. He gave it to you for free. You don't have to do anything. No work will ever get you into the gates of heaven. Only being invited by the man that created it, Christ Jesus himself, because he freely wants you to come. All he asks you to do is to give your life to him. Give your life to the Lord. Your life will incredibly change, and you will have so much joy. I lived 18, 19 years without Christ. After I met him, everything changed. Am I perfect? No. Good God, no. Do I make mistakes? Yes. Do I have a great teacher now? Yes. If you've enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to check out NordVPN if you have not already. I am so very excited to bring you NordVPN as a sponsor because they are going to help keep you safe and secure while you browse online. People are trying to steal from you. People are trying to hack you. People are trying to destroy you. They want to take your money. They want to take your wealth. And a lot of them can if you don't do anything about it. Sign up for NordVPN. You can get a 2-year plan for under $200. Sorry, for under $100. And when you have your computer, keep it activated at all times. It's very simple. You can use a quick connect feature. It will quickly connect you to the fastest server. They have like 7,000 servers all over the place. And it's very, very simple. I mean, you can literally set it, after you set it up on your computer, you can have it turned on and activated in like 15 seconds. When I set up NordVPN, it took me about 2 minutes to go in and set up the settings that I liked after watching one video about where all the buttons were. It was very straightforward, very simple. So if you've not already, make sure to sign for NordVPN with the link in the description box down below. Let's read a little bit of chat and then we're going to wrap it out. And we will also see whether or not this red candlestick is going to close with a sell signal from LUX ALGO, which is what our prediction was about 20 minutes ago. I guess we can go to the top of the hour and we'll see that as our finale before we wrap it out. Let's read a little bit of chat. Verhoofdeflufen said, wishing you all a very blessed day. You as well, Verhoofdeflufen. John Doe said, lol. Good to see you, John Doe. So glad that you were here. Bitcoin is pegged to Donald J. Trump. DJT stock. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some correlation there. Mate, are you all right? I'm awesome. I'm feeling great. Went on a 2-mile run this morning. I think I've probably done 30 miles since I started. I've done 8.3 miles. I did 5.3 miles on Monday. I did 1 mile yesterday because I was short for time. I did 2 miles this morning. My average pace was 13:12. Not great. You guys are probably like, oh my gosh, yeah, I could walk that. Okay, Smokey, don't just wait up for the bandit, okay? Did 2 miles this morning. A lot of fun. Really enjoying it. Did a couple sprints over the last couple of days. My top speed was about 15 miles an hour. Really excited on this whole running a mile a day thing. I think this is day 18 now of running at least a mile every day. I feel great. What's the price that you want to pay for success? Success for me, part of what success is for me is living as long as I can to help as many people as I can. If I die at 40, man, I got cut short. I could have done so much more in those 50, 60 years that I missed out on. I want to live till I'm 100. Will I? Probably not. I probably won't. I don't know. I'll probably die before then. That's okay. I'd be better off in heaven. It's better up there anyway. I'm not scared of death. I'm scared of not giving it my all while I live. That's the real challenge, not dying for the faith, but living for it. My goal is to live as long as I can and to be as healthy as I possibly can. And I thought to myself after this whole hospital stay, I mean, we spent the first 2 weeks of my son, my youngest son, Samuel's life in the hospital, and it freaked me out. My wife didn't do anything like to deserve that. Like, she's very healthy. She's one of the healthiest people I know, and she wound up in the hospital. Man, if I don't take care of myself, I'm going to be there too, right? I don't want that. I want to be there for my family. Success to me equals being healthy so that I can be there for my wife and kids, and for you guys for that matter. I want to be on this microphone in 50 years teaching you guys about how to build wealth. There's going to be a whole crop of financial stupidity come up over the next half a century, and somebody's going to need to be speaking out against it and telling you what we should be doing instead. I want to live as long as I can. So I said, I'm going to run a mile a day for 10 days. I did that. Day 17, I ain't stopping anytime soon. I've not missed a day. It's been hard sometimes. And now I'm doing it every morning instead of like in the middle of the afternoon, in the middle of everything. It's great. It's great. I'm going to work up to running. I've already lost a little bit of weight. I'm going to try and lose about 15 pounds. I think I will. Postpartum, drink the Mountain Dew, right? It kind of packs on the pound. We're losing weight, all right? We're slimming down. Really excited about that. But success costs something. Are you willing to do it? I'm willing to. Are you? I'm willing to in this one area. Like, there's a bunch of other areas where I've got to learn to grow. But yeah. All right, let's read some chat. All right. Well, real inflation is like 13.5%, so core shouldn't even matter. Yeah, that's kind of my point, is that inflation it's some bogus numbers that we're looking at. Let's see. Kamala's not going to tax unrealized capital gains, says Mark Cuban, Shark Tank investor. Cuban knows because he keeps in close contact with the Harris team about it. So she lied? So she lied? If that's true, then Mark Cuban basically just called her a liar, because that's what the proposal was. Her and Biden. Actually, that's a proposal for the rest of their term, and if it doesn't get done before they leave office, then they're going to try and do it in her season, in her sermon. Not in her sermon, I'm sorry. Good God. In her term. No way 2/3 of the states would approve a budget amendment, as nice as the idea is. That's a pipe dream. No way the United States should have ever beat the most powerful military in the history of the world, especially when the French showed up 2.5 years late because they were too busy having a Viva Revolution of their own. No way man ever should have landed on Mars. No way in 2 years Elon Musk is going to send the first Starship to Mars. No way that a man could have ever gone up on a cross and rose from the dead. But guess what? When you got God In the impossible becomes possible. You look at that mountain and you say, move. In faith, that mountain will move. Oh, it's possible. It's absolutely possible. Will it happen? I don't know. But is it possible? Yeah. I remember one time I was picking up a friend and I looked up at the moon. You can call me crazy if you want. I don't really care what you think. I looked up at the moon and I said, you know what? Here's a dream. I'm going to go there one day. I looked up at the moon. I said, I'm going to go there one day. I'm going to put my feet on that. Technology's going there. This is in the Stone Ages, guys. It can happen. I could do it. I looked up at the moon. I was single. This was 5 years ago. I looked up at the moon. I said, one day I'm going to go there. One day I'm going to set my foot on there. I don't care if I set one foot on there, turn around, come home. I don't care if I go up there and that's where I die. I'm going to put my foot on the moon one day. That's a vision right there. Come on, guys. Shoot for the moon, literally. Why not? Look up in the sky. Say, I'm going to touch that one day. Why not? I'm not saying build a homestead on the surface of the sun. I'm not telling you to dream the literal impossible. I'm not saying grow an extra 2 feet and you're already fully grown. That's not possible. You got to be realistic, but I realistically could. Technology, space flights, going there. Space tourism, it's a thing. It's happening. I realistically could, if I took good care of myself, survive another 30, 40 years, build some wealth, I could do that. I could actually do it. It sounds crazy, but it's possible. Could 2/3 of the state approve a budget amendment? Yeah, they could. It's in the Constitution. That's the way the law works. Would it be hard? Yeah. Would it be one of the hardest things anybody's ever done to change a law in the United States? Yeah. Would it be good for the nation? Also, yes. And so for that reason, it's worth trying. I love you wisely, T. I know you're not trying to be critical. The FUD spreader is back in action. That's so funny. The FUD spreader. The FUD spreader. Am I the FUD spreader? My goal is to make sure you guys have hope. Bitcoin is going to do great. Next couple of days, it might not. Correction may be coming in the next couple of weeks to months. But, guys, Bitcoin's going to explode. It's in great shape in the long run. Short term, who knows? Long run, Bitcoin's just as bullish as it always has been. Just as bullish as it always has been. Oh, Shadrach Frost gave a member chat, said Colossians 3, 23, and 24. Jeb, thank you for all you do. Smash the likes. Folks, Colossians 3:23 obviously is whatsoever you do, do it with all your heart as unto the Lord, not as unto man. Verse 24 says, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as your reward. Amen. Absolutely. That is a big verse in my life. Whatsoever you do, do it as unto the Lord, not as unto... Do it heartily, not as unto man, but as unto the Lord. It's very, very, very good. I'm good with another 20 years max, struggling to find any redeeming qualities in America these days. Yeah, it's rough, but it's worth fighting for. I, for one, plan on doing everything I can to help our nation succeed. That's one of my goals. I want everyone under the sound of my voice to succeed, but especially my countrymen, my countrywomen that live with me here in the United States. This country is too great to give up on. What it was founded on is too great to give up on. It's founded on Christian values. It was founded on Christ. Is it perfect? No. Is everything it was founded on perfect? No. Was there slavery at the beginning? Yes. Was that evil? Yes. Is America the greatest nation that has ever existed in the history of mankind? Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe. It's pretty great to me. I certainly think it's the greatest nation on earth right now. That's why everybody wants to come here. Do I think it's worth fighting for? Yeah. Do I love my country? Yes. Am I, maybe not the word, proud, glad, grateful to be an American? Yes, absolutely. Would I die for my country? Absolutely. Do I think it's worth fighting for? Yeah. So I'm not planning on giving up anytime soon. I'm a fighter. I don't back down. You tell me no, I say, okay, why? If you got a good reason, all right, fine. You can't give me a good reason why you're telling me no. The answer that I'm going to respond to you is no. Actually, I'm saying no. Am I unsubmissive? Sometimes. Depends on who's telling me what to do. Do I submit to rulers and authorities when they're not breaking the law of God? Yes, I will. If they tell me the speed limit is 60, I'm going to try and do the speed limit. Right? I serve God, not man. The bad eventually always bottoms out and then goes up. Eventually, the world will return to good. Hopefully. We'll see. All right, let's see it. We did not close out the hour with that red candlestick, that red sell signal. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I am personally not extremely bullish on Bitcoin. I personally think that we're going to see some continued correction, but we will see what happens. If that does occur, be ready to buy. Stack cash, dollar cost average, buy into assets that you reasonably expect will be worth more in 5 years. Guess what? Most recessions don't last 5 years. Okay, you bought and a recession happens. Big whoop. You said you were going to hold it for 7 years. The recession will be over in 3, most likely. And if not, that probably means something more serious than markets is going on in the world. So continue to follow good, sound money principles. They will not lead you astray. And I pray that each and every single one of you will have a wonderful and successful day, and thank you all very much for tuning in. Also, before I go, I do want to let you know this. Make sure to sign up for Uphold. Guys, Uphold is an incredible exchange. Uphold has access to Caspa. They are the best exchange for you to go and trade Caspa on. A lot of people are big fans of Caspa, yes? Caspa is a great project that is not on a lot of exchanges. You can't find it on Coinbase. You can't find it on Crypto.com. You can't find it in a lot of those areas. But where you can find it is here on Uphold. So make sure you come over to Markets, type in Caspa. Boom. There it is. Go sign up for Caspa. Sign up for Uphold. Grab yourself some Caspa if that's what you choose to do. And stay tuned because I'm actually going to be doing an interview with the founder of Uphold, the CEO and founder, here in a couple of days. That'll be going out probably sometime next week. So make sure to stay tuned. Absolutely great exchange. They've also got the Vault application, which a video is coming out on very soon. It's a great place to store your Bitcoin. One of the best in the entire industry. Great wallet with a 2/3 configurative wallet. Amazing technologies. Make sure to check out Uphold if you have not already. Really grateful for them to sponsor the channel. Very much enjoying that sponsorship because our vision and our values are very much aligned, and definitely an exchange I would highly recommend for you to add into your tool belt. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more content. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.